Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Kathie J Show. I'm your host, Kathie J. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this half hour. I say it every time, but it's a joy to get to hang out with you. So thank you so much. You know, my staff and I are working really hard to bring you topics that you care about. So please keep that conversation going on all of our social media and go check out any other shows that you might have missed, KathieJShow.com. Oh yeah, one more thing. We have a YouTube channel as well. So go and subscribe to the Kathie J YouTube channel. Please help us out. We love you. All right, so everybody, energy. One of the reasons I got this show is because Kathie J has good energy, okay? And what we create has energy around us. It's everything that we put into it. So are you tapping into your energy in a positive way? Are you realizing how it impacts your happiness and those relationships with everybody around you? Transformational Life Strategist Teri Karjala is here, yay! To tell us all about this. Hello, Teri.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
Of course, it's a delight to be here.
Okay, so you grew up in Kansas.
That's how we're starting this off.
Yeah, let's get that out of the way. Yeah. So you grew up in Kansas.
Yes.
And let's start with what you do. Words that we speak have energy, plain and simple.
Yes, absolutely. So I was a therapist for 25 years, and then I started learning about positive energy and energy psychology and quantum physics, and I just started like combining those things together and just seeing the power that we have to clear out the blocks, but also really have some tools based in quantum physics to really step into our power and really step into consciously creating every single day.
That is exactly what I'm about.
Yes.
I love hearing that kind of stuff, Teri.
Yes.
So when you started learning about the effects of the positivity of words and quantum physics and all that, you started remembering your own childhood.
Yes.
Okay, how?
I would say that I didn't get brought up in the most positive environment, okay? And, I had my own limitations that I had to overcome. And one of them was I truly believed that I was not good enough. I got messages over and over, growing up that I was stupid, that I was a failure, that I was never going to amount to anything.
From parents?
From parents, from others, just internally,
yeah.
Right? And so what happens is in the brain, is once we start, so the brilliance of the brain is this: negative thoughts will find negative evidence. Positive thoughts will find positive evidence. And at that time, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Right? So I was being delivered these messages.
Like most kids.
And I didn't know that it wasn't mine to take on. So I took it on. And so what happened is my brain started finding the evidence to it. So
I am stupid. I am this. I am that.
I had a learning disability, which was
that's
overcome.
not good.
I know,
that's
right?
Not good.
It doesn't help my case at all. And so, in second grade, I was struggling with, dyslexia and it's a learning disability. And so I had massive evidence that
could be true.
Yeah, that I was
but
like, oh
you
gosh,
took
I must be.
Right,
I must
right.
be this, I must be that, I must be this. And so I started labeling, and then internally, I took this on. And so no matter how hard I tried, I simply wasn't enough.
Not healthy, Teri.
Right,
not healthy.
Not healthy.
Okay,
not
so
healthy.
then you're a shy kid.
Yes.
You're beating yourself up
Absolutely.
internally every day.
Absolutely.
Then what changes it for you?
One of the things, and I didn't know then what I know now, but I knew that it was like a download. And I had this moment. I was extraordinarily shy, just kind of based on my upbringing and all of that. Super shy, and I told myself there has to be something. I got to figure this out. And so I signed up for the only thing that you could not be shy for. So take a guess.
Cheerleading.
You knew
wow,
it.
No, I did right.
But
let's be loud.
Yes, I signed up for cheerleading, and I remember. Oh my gosh, look at these embarrassing pictures. Now my daughter is going to laugh at me. Okay, I'm in the middle. Do you see the TM? That's me.
Yes, that's awesome.
Look at me. Brr. Anyways, but I was so extraordinarily shy that I signed up, and it was really interesting. So in 6th grade, I was trying out for the 6th and 7th, or the middle school. So I had to go into this gymnasium with over 100 students.
Yes.
Plus they brought in 5 professional college students.
That's awesome.
Cheerleaders.
To judge you and stuff?
To judge you.
All
and
right.
I felt so tiny.
You weren't tiny though. You weren't tiny. You were working on yourself. All right, when we come back, everybody, more to do with energy. We'll be right back. Kathie J. Oakwood Homes is an official partner of the Kathie J Show. Oakwood Homes, building happiness. Oh my goodness, everybody. Welcome back to the Kathie J Show. Today we're talking off camera as well, everybody. We're talking about energy and how it can be a life force that you might be missing in your world. Joining us today, we have Teri Karjala. She is here hanging out with us, everybody. She is a transformational life strategist and coach and everything, everybody. But you say everything in our life, negative to positive, always think of it in negatives and positives, and then flush the negative.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So we can, energy is everything.
Yes.
Everything has energy. And we kind of take that for granted. We think about, like this table, if we put this under a high powered microscope, it has energy. This coffee cup in front of us has energy.
How is
Our
it? It's
bodies-
not moving. There's
I know.
nothing
Isn't
in
this
motion.
wild?
So how is it?
But if we put it under a high powered microscope, we would see atoms moving. Isn't this wild?
Yes.
So everything, including our bodies, is energy. And so, coming from that place of positive energy or negative energy, the brilliance of this is we often get tripped up or get triggered by an emotional experience.
Yeah.
And when we have that emotional experience, inside the brain, now this is wild, inside the brain processes the chemicals in 90 seconds. So everything else, after that 90 seconds, the brain has done its job. Everything else becomes a choice. We can either stay in that spiral and we can go down that spiral, or we can choose to go through it and choose a different. And so it's so powerful that we don't have to stay.
No, you're right. You're right. And
place.
we talk about it all the time that you have to walk through it. You can't just stay there and hang out for years. You need to walk through the pain, walk through it to get to the other side. You're saying part of walking through that is changing how you're speaking, how you're thinking.
Yeah.
Every time something negative comes up, you got to switch it
that. And here's the thing: is our brain, like I said earlier, is that those negative thoughts are going to find negative evidence. It's actually going to engage the brain. So there's actually a part in the brain called the reticular activation system, and that part of the brain is actually scanning the environment to find evidence to support that story.
What?
So the challenge is for a lot of us that had upbringings like, "Hey, I'm not," and
where negative is the first comment.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
So these thoughts we have, so a belief system is created out of having thoughts over and over and over again. And that becomes a belief system. And so those belief systems can usually be boiled down to I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not competent enough. I'm not something enough.
Yes, Teri.
Right? And so when we have those, when we're coming from that place in space, I always tell people that we're kind of walking through life with these imaginal goggles, these invisible goggles.
Yeah.
And your goggles are different than my goggles.
Right.
And my goggles are different than Mary's goggles, and they're all different. And so we experience life through those goggles.
So here's the thing, Teri. Everybody out there that's like, oh, yes, I get it, our brains and what we do and our negative energy and stuff. But this negative, positive energy has effect on stuff like she said, tables, cups, rice. Tell everybody about this picture, Teri.
So this is really fascinating. So Dr. Emoto is a Japanese scientist, and what he did is he took ordinary tap water and he spoke to it, and then he put it under high power microscopes, and either positive ones would turn into crystals, beautiful like ice crystals, or negatives would turn into nothing. And so when I was researching this, I came across the rice experiment. So I did the exact same thing. I would record on my phone 50 times, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing, and 50 times you're stupid. And so every morning I would go in and I would record these into this. Now the one in the middle is actually the control group, which I did nothing to it.
Wow.
But this was after 9 months
of
doing this
every day.
After doing this, and you can see what happens when we're speaking, and it's just a great because we don't see the energy.
You don't.
But when you have it in this form, you can actually see the results of how our energy and what we speak. So what we speak is what we seek.
You're absolutely right. So when we come back, everybody, Teri's going to be filling us in on the blocks and how to get those blocks removed from you. We'll be back.
Kathie J.
The Colorado Lottery is an official partner of the Kathie J Show. Colorado Lottery, play on.
Kathie J.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Today we're talking with Teri Karjala about energy in our lives and what that means. Now, Teri's been helping us out. She's been a transformational life strategist for years now, and it's about our energy and our energy that's blocked. And if y'all don't believe it, you have to go back and see before the commercial break about the rice. Just words can affect grains of rice on negative and energy. Yes. Is it ions? Is it molecules? What is it?
Right?
Cells?
Like we're speaking, that energy into whatever it is. And think about our bodies, right? We are no different, right? So a lot of times, and I had a client a long time ago, and she came in super, super negative, was telling herself all the time she was stupid. She didn't even consciously was aware of that.
Wow.
And so I gave her some tools to start clearing that. And then she became conscious of those unconscious thoughts. And it's like the iceberg theory. We say 10% is what we see above water, 90% is what we see below the surface.
Yes,
so our brain is just the same, 10% conscious thought, 90% unconscious. And when we think about that, there's Dr. Joe Dispenza said that 90% of that 90% is negative.
Yeah.
And so we're constantly telling ourselves, these stories that don't serve us.
You're right, but it's everything from, we have relatives that we talk to every day that are negative in the minute, and we have to gear ourselves up just to talk to them, so they're sucking our energy, right? I mean, negative people suck our energy from us, right?
So I will say, first of all, if you have that experience, please, please, please protect your energy.
What do you mean by that?
So you can put in, I call it the bubble, where I imagine those bubbles that you blow, you step into that energy and you just only allow love and light to come in.
Yep.
And so you can protect your energy from those dream stealers, those vampire stealers, whatever you want to call them, so that they're not taking away your energy. Because right now, in theory, you put your arm out, my energy goes out about 1.5 to 2 feet. Yours does too. You're in my bubble and I'm in your bubble.
Yes, right.
So even though we're sitting this close,
yes,
we are exchanging energy right now.
No, you're absolutely right.
And so and there's been really fascinating research that says if you spend more than 5 minutes with a depressed person, you will start taking on that energy of that person within 5 minutes.
Wow.
Thank goodness you're not negative.
Right, yeah. No, thank gosh, for real. The stuff I've been through, thank God I'm not a normally negative person. But when you're talking about, so how do the blocks then start to destroy us? They're blocks in our work. They're blocks in our relationships, everywhere.
Yeah.
Our health.
And I'd say, in working with thousands of people over the years, whether they're women or female entrepreneurs, I say that usually there's top 5 blocks. There's the limiting beliefs, there's self-sabotage, the imposter syndrome, getting stuck in fear, because we've had none of that in the last 2 years. I don't know if that's coming from.
No, that's crazy. I know what you mean.
I know.
Stuck in fear.
And then the other one is just getting stuck in overwhelm and burnout.
Yeah.
And so obviously there's other blocks that happen, but anytime we go into that unconscious, now according to the National Science Foundation, we have anywhere from 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day, and only 2,000 are conscious.
How many are?
So 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day, and only 2,000 are conscious.
Wow.
So we are constantly,
I know what all you men are thinking about. Sorry, Teri.
This took a really different angle.
It's a different show. But yeah.
But what happens is we think we're running the show consciously, but we're not.
No.
Those stories, those limitations are running the show on a regular basis.
Do you know there was a time where I was in a conflict with another group of, whatever. And I spent so much time, I was thinking about in the shower, what they said or what I could say back or how I could spin this or, my thoughts were so enwrapped in that.
Yeah.
And the whole time out loud, I was like, I'm fine. I don't care what they say. I'm fine. But inside, I couldn't get it out of my head.
Exactly.
And it took me a year.
Yeah.
But it was nonstop. Kathie, why are you thinking that? Push it out. Right? Is that your suggestion to people?
No. Yeah. Well, that is probably a solution. Right. But one of the things, and I don't know how much time we have, but I'm going to go into this really quickly. There's a great exercise that people can start doing. So I recommend writing this down.
Okay.
And that is interesting point of view that I have this interesting point of view. And what happens is that helps cancel out that negative thought. So negative thoughts come in, interesting point of view that I have this interesting point of view, interesting point of view that I have this point of view. Say it 3 times.
Okay.
And so that does 2 things. One, it allows us to become conscious of our thoughts.
Okay.
But the second thing, it helps cancel that thoughts out. We can't have more than 2 thoughts at a time. And so that helps cancel that out. And then the other thing is what I highly recommend and strongly encourage is asking a generative question. And a generative question starts to open us back up again.
Okay.
So for example, what else is possible?
Yes.
So we can cancel it out and then say what else is possible, because it takes us out of that negative spiral, because oftentimes people will get into that spiral. It activates the brain, we find the evidence, and we stay there.
Yes, we do, because it's so easy to find the fear or the negative in it.
Exactly.
Why do you use these stones? What do you use the stones for? And your Horcrux on your chest, on your necklace.
We were joking earlier about, and again, everything is energy, and so I brought in some energy or some stones, and stones can also be a great way in which you can utilize energy to help protect your energy. Today I'm wearing this stone, and we were joking earlier about what it really is. But these these stones, and so the clear quartz actually, I have a daily intentions planner, and people will always, talk about, how do I create faster in my life?
Yes.
And so I utilize my daily intentions planner, and then I stick the stone on top of it because it helps to magnify the intentions that we're setting. I mean, it's so powerful. And again, this could be on a whole new segment on talking about like energy and like how we can tap into utilizing energy in a really powerful way.
But if I came home, Teri, and said, Mom, if that's the book you're working on and stuff, I'm going to sit my rock right on top of it.
Yeah.
She's going to look at me crazy.
Yeah.
Do I need to say this has been blessed with this is right? I mean, like,
Well,
you ground
stone,
these, right?
The stone, these stone, you just want to clear them because like now that
Clear
you're
'em,
touching them,
right?
your
Hey,
energy
you got
is in
good
them.
energy in these stones, just so you know, Teri.
But you can, energy, like stones, everything has energy. And so these stones obviously possess their own energy as well.
Well, hey, it seems to be working, Teri, so we're down for anything. Clearing whatever it takes, we're going to do it. Don't go anywhere. When we come back with Teri, she's going to tell us how we can get an alignment with the energy. All right, we'll be back.
Kathie J.
Ramos Law is an official partner of the Kathie J Show. He's a medical doctor and a lawyer. Ramos Law, what makes us different makes us better. Welcome back to the Kathie J Show, everybody. We are hanging out, laughing, and having a good time with Teri, everybody. Teri Karjala is here. She is a transformational life coach. You do everything, and it's about energy and moving energy, everybody. Now, before the break, we were talking about moving energy and the assistance of rocks and stuff. What happens if we don't clear the blocks in our body physically?
Oftentimes it will just show up in our bodies. So we'll have elements, we'll have other types of more severe things. I think it's always a way that our bodies, especially when, if we are knowing we're really stressed out and we're pushing ourselves, ultimately what will often happen is we'll get sick.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's their body's way. It's like, hey, you're not listening to me.
Right, that's what happened to me.
And I'm now going to put you out.
The
myself.
universe smacked me upside the head and kicked me.
And it's true. And if we don't listen to it, we can have some serious side effects to it. And I always let people know, and when things start showing up in our bodies, we can actually just ask. Think about like what that body part is showing up. Like, let's say I'm having knee issues. Like, what are my knees? What's the intended purpose of my knees?
Right.
Well, they're moving me forward. So where am I not moving myself forward? Or maybe I'm having difficulties in my hands, or what am I
love that you say
grasping, or
that.
that's grasping, or if I'm stomach issues, like what am I processing?
Oh my God, Teri, I used to have problems with my throat. I still do sometimes, but I remember a lady that was intuitive. She was like, you're not speaking your truth.
Yeah.
And sure enough, as soon as I started speaking my truth more, this started clearing up. It was wild. I was like, you're crazy, but she was right.
I know. It shows up in our bodies.
It's about getting aligned.
Yes.
At the end of the day. We can't let you leave today without trying to get aligned, everybody. So realignment means everything because it's about flowing the energy up and down through us, right?
Yeah.
How do we get aligned?
Well, so that's such a loaded question.
I
There's
know.
lots of different ways that we can get aligned. But think about mind, body, spirit. Like, how do we get back in alignment? And when I think about getting in alignment, that means everything is back in a flow.
Okay.
And we're no longer living in the past. We're no longer living in the future. We're living in this moment right now.
Okay.
And everything is good.
So my thoughts aren't thinking about something in the past.
Yes.
My thoughts aren't worried about this.
It's really being in a place of like,
This is all I can handle is right here in this moment.
it's right here in this moment, yes.
Okay.
And when we get in alignment, and again, it's like tapping into our purpose, our passion, our potency, because we can be very potent in the negative way. And we can also be very potent and be very engaged in creating that in which we desire. And I always tell people, again, from the vibrational standpoint, if we are in this vibrational standpoint here, we're going to be creating here.
Yeah.
But as we get into tap into our purpose, like what are we here to do?
That's what we all need to know. What are you here?
What are we here to do? And we will naturally start vibrating at this higher level. And it's really juicy because then we start to create. We start to create and generate from that. And so I always often will tell people, like, who do you get to become? Like, what is that in your heart of hearts that you're supposed to do here on this planet?
Yeah.
And what does that look like? And what is that? Because as soon as you start to focus your attention on that, we start to create that. We start to call it into our lives. What we think about, we bring about.
Yes, because
But
then you have something to think about. And then you're able to get rid of any of the dumb stuff that's muddling up your life, from emotions, from relationships, from things that you got scorned in the past.
Yeah.
Let that go.
Yes.
Right.
But I think so often is, and I've asked people this over and over again, is I'll ask people, like, what is it that you love to do or desire to do? You know what they'll tell me?
I don't know.
They'll tell me exactly what they don't want. But they're focusing on that. Now, there's some value in having contrast and understanding what you do desire, like, and don't.
Right.
But oftentimes people lead with what they don't like.
So funny. I know what I don't like.
I know.
Absolutely.
You're
absolutely.
confident about it, right? We're confident about it. But when I ask people, like, no, what is it that you do desire? What is it that you love? What is it? It's a different shift.
Oh, okay, so everybody, if you're ready for a different shift, you have to join Teri, because Teri has a 2-day live event. It's like one of your first times you're going to be live now with people,
It's going
right?
to be live for the first time in 2 years.
It's going to be at the end of the month on April 29th and 30th at the DTC Sheridan, everybody.
Yes.
To get your tickets and to find out more, go to talkingwithteri.com. Real easy to remember, talkingwithteri.com. And guess what, everybody? For Kathie J viewers, she's offering $50 off the 2-day event. Use the promo code EARLYBIRD50 and you can get it. Thank you so much, Teri, for
Thank
being
you.
here today. Again, everybody, Talking with Teri. Move the energy out, right, Teri? Get in alignment.
Absolutely.
Have a good day, everybody.